Welcome to the Salt and Light Serve Spotlight, brought to you by itsonlyhomeschooling.com, a website devoted to advocacy, community, and resources for homeschooling children with learning differences. In this podcast series, we highlight those who embody a servant's heart, individuals and organizations who are changing lives one act of service at a time. Hello everyone, and welcome to our show. My name is Kimberly Bennett, and I am your host. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for giving us a listen. A little bit about me. I am a licensed professional counselor and a former middle school guidance counselor turned homeschool mom of one. I am also an advocate for homeschooling children with learning differences. For more of my story and background, feel free to listen to episode 1 or check out my website at itsonlyhomeschooling.com. In episode 26, we introduced you to Melony Brown, author, podcaster, public speaker, special education teacher, and overcomer. Struggling does not equal suffering. Melony's battles with neurological struggles began at the tender age of 2, when she had a stroke that impacted her left side. Undeterred by the doctor's poor prognoses, Melony's parents provided her with intervention and support. Yet, they did not allow her to view herself as lesser than in any way. The only pass she was ever given was when her parents advocated on her behalf to the school to allow her to be exempt from mandatory typing classes. The stroke at age 2 had left her with minimal use of her left hand. Her parents knew she would never be able to pass the timed typing tests and feared it would negatively impact her GPA. Decades of neurological struggles, including many strokes and migraines, culminated in a diagnosis of moyamoya disease in her early 40s. Brain surgery soon followed. A few brief interviews is not enough time to give full justice to the hard-won victories Melony has achieved. Yet true to her humble nature, she would prefer to shift the focus to other overcomers anyway. The biggest part of her story, her mindset, and her mission. The mindset that is possible for any of us to adopt if we choose to do so. The mindset that she recognizes in others, often before they do. The mindset that she teaches others to harness and hone by taking readers on a journey of self-exploration and faith. The mindset of the overcomer. And her mission? To connect with other overcomers, collect their stories, and share their experiences to inspire and encourage. Stories she lovingly shares in her podcast, Challenges Won't Stop Me, formerly known as Zigzag and One. Today, we continue with our interview with Melony. Let's listen. Well, Melony, you certainly have shared some wonderful stories, your own story as well. And I just wanted to ask, what strategies have you learned over the years that you can share with our listeners to help them adopt an overcomer mindset?
Well, that's a loaded question right there.
It is.
I think probably the biggest thing for me is that our society and our culture really has taught us, programmed us to think everything should be easy. I mean, let me grab this. We have an easy button.
Yes, we do.
You can throw that thing out.
Yes.
God doesn't, he told us it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. the reason that the Bible is so powerful is because the Bible characters, Moses, Joseph, Ruth, Esther, they did not lead the easy button life.
Mm-mm.
In fact, if you go through and you go into reading their stories and think, okay, how did they get through their challenges? Well, yeah, God. We can get through our challenges without God, but don't recommend it. Not at all. What did Joseph learn? What did Moses learn? How did he get through it? King Jehoshaphat probably is my favorite Bible story from 2 Chronicles 20, because these advisors come and they tell him a vast army is approaching. Now, it doesn't say this, but I envision they're going, what are we going to do? I'm like, what are we going to do? It's not just like 50 guys, because we can handle 50 guys. No, it's like thousands. What are we going to do? And King Jehoshaphat says, well, we're going to pray about this. We're going to fast. We're going to wait to hear from God. How many times do we react with that diagnosis?
Mm-hmm.
With that situation that you didn't see coming? Because let's just be honest, most of the challenges we face, we don't see coming. We just don't. That we just immediately react without connecting with God and saying, there's a vast army coming. There's a cancer diagnosis. There's divorce papers on the table. There's the teachers are driving me crazy. They're calling me every day about how awful my kid is. We immediately go into problem-solving mode. All right, I'm going to figure this out. And we don't consult God. Well, King Jehoshaphat's a perfect example. How did he handle his challenge? He prayed and he fasted. And then he said, we don't know what to do, God, but our eyes are on you.
Yes.
That is a total surrender. That is a total trust. Okay, so if I'm going through a challenge, I can't get this done, or this friend is spreading lies about me. How do we handle it? Well, you go back to King Jehoshaphat and you say, okay, well, before he did anything, he didn't say, go get the army loaded up, get everybody ready, we're going to head out. He didn't do that. He said, we're going to pray and we're going to fast. That I've learned from that story. That's how I respond when a conflict or a challenge or a struggle or a trouble comes into my path. I'm okay. I'm going to take a minute here. We're going to reach out to God and we're going to get his guidance, because he already knew this was coming.
Mm-hmm.
I need his help. That's the biggest strategy for me, no matter what challenge comes. When the neurosurgeon said, well, brain surgery, I'm like, okay, went home and I prayed, because there's no way I could have gotten through that in my own problem-solving abilities. Okay, well, we don't really need to do that. We could take some different medicine. Well, no, we've already thrown every pill at this. It's not working. So, strategies to me, we learn what characters did in the Bible. Do we have a one-to-one connection? I've never faced a vast army. But what I'm doing when I'm reading stories like his or Paul's or Nehemiah, when he's been given the biggest challenge to build the wall, he prayed. He sought God. Okay, what do I do about this, God? Because like these guys are not happy that I'm doing this, but yet you're telling me I'm supposed to. And I've got some workers, but you know, they're kind of like they're not really, they're skilled, but are they skilled enough for this? If you go and look at any Bible story, Noah, anybody, you will find consistently strategies and mindsets and habits that they used, which is the whole point of their story. It's not just so that we can have a flannel board for our kids. This is Noah. We're going to put him on our wall for our baby. I mean, that's great. Don't get me wrong. But the intent of the Bible, that's why it's a map, is to illustrate when a challenge happens, when you feel overwhelmed. This vast army is approaching and we don't know what to do, but our eyes are on you. He pulled out his binoculars. He said, I'm going to praise you. I'm going to trust you. And that is a crazy story of what God did. But he did it because King Jehoshaphat put his trust and his connection and his faith in God. And God said, just watch this. And so when we do that, there's not a specific strategy other than learn the strategies from the Word of God. And like with Paul may be the best, probably the best connection with the challenges won't stop me mindset. Paul had that. I mean, the dude went through, good night, how many different challenges. And he just kept going. He just kept moving forward because he kept saying, God, I need you. I need your help. I cannot do this. If you follow his story, that's what he did time and time and time again. And each time he's like, all right, let's just do it. I'll be in prison. If that's what you think, I'll be in prison. I'll learn whatever I'm supposed to learn while I'm there. So that is the best advice that I can give anyone is we have a gazillion examples of what to do when we're facing challenges. Yes, I want you to grab a copy of my book because I hope that what I'm doing with my book is pointing you to that. It's pointing you to that each and every time. But really, God put those stories in his word to prepare us where we started, to prepare us. And if we're consistently reading that and being nourished by that, I mean, there are times like I think I mentioned to you earlier. I'm doing a word study on confident, and so I'm going through and I'm color coding my Bible with every instance of confident. Well, some people have differing opinions about the Amplified Bible. I personally like it. There was this whole section in Proverbs about confident, except it wasn't the confident I was thinking. It actually talked about the fools. And before fools in the Amplified version, in brackets, it says self-confident. So this morning I'm going, whoa, okay. I think that's exactly what you were trying to navigate me to is, do I have confidence in God, which is what a lot of the other verses in the Amplified talk about, and you'll get to experience that and keep moving forward because I have you write those out.
Okay.
Lean in, rely on,
forward to it.
and
Yes.
be confident in God. Okay. So when I'm going through challenges, it's not about, hey, Melony has this skill and it's going to be perfect for this challenge. No, my confidence comes from all the times in my past that God has shown up and blown my mind with how he takes care of me, how he fights for me, how he hears my prayers, how he comforts me and encourages me and strengthens me and fills me with grace and mercy and the list, okay?
Yes.
Like that song by Elevation Worship. When a challenge comes, I remember everything he's done, and I say, God, do it again. Do it again. It doesn't have to be exactly. You don't have to do it exactly the same way, but do it again. Fight for me. Be there. Be my safe and secure tent that I can run to and know that I can count on you. You have never failed me. And I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to do that. His word says he won't. And I can bet, Kimberly, that you have plenty of experiences where God has never failed you. And so when you get to a challenge in the future, which we know there's always one waiting around the corner, just waiting to just ambush you, you can think about what Ruth learned when she went through her challenges, and you can say, okay, that's how we're going to handle this. But I'm remembering what you've done in my past, which is why we need a travel log. We need a travel log. We need to be not paragraphs and pages of details. If you want to, that's great. I don't really have the time, but like just writing it down so that you can go back and say, wow, I had forgotten just how amazing that was that God did. And then say, all right, I trust you to do it again. That to me is the strategy.
And that's it. It's not a magic bullet. Well, it is. If you think about it, if you wash, rinse, repeat, it's going to him first in relationship, getting in his word, standing on his promises, and knowing that whatever you go through, it will not be in your own strength.
No, because
it will not be.
If you're confident in your own self, you're that self-confident fool.
Yes, exactly.
And I have been that. I have been that.
We all have.
Yeah. But
and I would probably fall prey to it again, but
yes. But I have learned, and I think you have too, that it's far better. And I get excited about seeing what God is going to do. So my confidence is in Him. It really is. It really is. And part of what I talk about in both books is having a fight verse. And everybody's is different because it really has to be about what makes you go, yes! And when I had that spiritual warfare experience in the hospital, I heard my voice saying that. And it's on my wall right there. You probably can't see it because it's in gold and it's having a reflection with the light. But it's from Hebrews 2:13 in the Amplified Version. My trust and assured reliance and confident hope shall be fixed in Him. And I said that numerous times during my brain surgery and then during my colon surgery. I said it. I've said it in other circumstances as well, because each time it reminds me, it points me back to, how am I going to get through this? I'm going to get through it because of God. And that's all I need to know. Because He's going to fight my battles.
Yes. And His grace is sufficient.
Oh, yes. Very much so. Very, very much so.
Well, Melony, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on here and speak to me and to my listeners and to inspire and encourage. And God has put a fire within you to do what you are answering His call, and He is equipping you every step of the way. And your podcast is beautiful. Your book is beautiful. And so I encourage my listeners to definitely buy The Challenges Won't Stop Me. Where can they find your book and the next book that you've got coming out? Where can we find your books?
Well, always on Amazon. You can also find them on my website. if you order them through my website, I will sign them. So that's kind of a little special. I don't know. My website is my first and last name, but so it is melonybrown.com. So on my website, you can find the stories that I referenced earlier, where the first, 5 years of interviewing overcomers, I interviewed them and then wrote their stories. You can find that under the stories tab, but you can also find access to my podcast there. You can listen to all the podcasts, the Zigzagging One and the Challenges Won't Stop Me. There's a podcast tab there as well. One of the things that I have loved doing in association with the books is the Journey On quiz. And It's really super fun. It takes you maybe 10 minutes, where I have 20 questions. And as several people that were the beta testers for the questions and the answers, they said, yeah, this is really interesting. It's kind of like a personality, and it is. It's your personality and how you face challenges. And there's 5 different personalities. If you get one that you're like, wow, I don't like that one. I don't like being that person. That's okay. It's not like one is better than another. It's just how we navigate challenges. And even if you get one that your friend gets something and you're like, well, that's like the best one and I want that one. That person still has stuff that they can learn about challenges, because that's the beauty. That's why we read the Bible over and over and over, and we can hear a sermon 1 year and then 5 years later and we're like, wow, how did I not see that? So there's always stuff for us to learn about how to better navigate our journeys through life.
Absolutely. One of the big phrases we say in our house is always learning, always growing. From alpha to omega. Always learning, always growing.
Yes.
There's also some wonderful merch that you've got there. And also, you are a public speaker. So if you would like to hire Melony to come share some of her wonderful, wonderful insights that she has garnered over the years, not only from her personal experience, but also her personal challenges and faith in following the Lord, but also that she has garnered the wisdom from these wonderful, wonderful women that she has collected their stories over the years and encouraged them and watched them grow. I'm telling you, it's definitely worth it. They can also hire you. There is a link. I'm looking at your website, and I will put a link to it in the description box below, as well as everything else in our show notes. But you can hire Melony to come speak at, I recommend her for homeschool conferences. As a homeschool mom, there is a ton of wisdom that is garnered from here to help us in raising our children who have learning challenges, who have physical challenges, or, well, you know what? We all face challenges of some kind. And mindset is our lens through which we view the world. And having that mindset makes all the difference in the world with how you handle that challenge, because it's going to come either way. How do you want to handle it?
Yes.
How do you want to handle it? But they can hire you through your website as well to get in contact with you about hiring you for public speaking. So, Melony, thank you so much for the journey that you have taken us on. I'm very excited to read your next book. Keep moving forward and go through the deep self-introspection journey that it is, and grow even more with it. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, it's been a blast. I have enjoyed this time with you, Kimberly, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and it's something that I believe that we can all be equipped and empowered for, because challenges, just part of life.
Yes, they are. Well, thank you so much. And we look forward to chatting with you again in the future when your next book comes out. But until we meet again, take care.
You too.
Want to find out more about Melony Brown? Then visit her website, www.melonybrown.com. That's www.melonybrown.com. What will you find when you get there? Books! Oh, both of her books and her Journey On series. Challenges Won't Stop Me and her latest release, part 2 in the Journey On series, Keep Moving Forward, which was just released on October 10th, 2023. There's also tons of fun merch. If you need a fun and friendly and even useful reminder to never give up, check out these tumblers or her travel logs, or even purchase an autographed copy of her book to gift to a friend. I don't know about you, but I always love gifts that are encouraging and uplifting. Podcasts, you can find links to her shows there. You can also take a fun quiz that will help you discover your journey personality. Have an overcomer story to share? Melony loves people and is always on the lookout for the next overcomer story. You never know when sharing your trials and triumphs can help inspire and motivate another person. Reach out and connect. You might just be the interview candidate she is looking for. In need of a public speaker for your next event? Consider hiring Melony. Check out our website at www.melonybrown.com. Be sure to join us in November, where we chat with author, athlete, homeschool mom, therapist, and private practice owner, Dr. Rhonda Johnson. We will talk with Dr. Johnson about her debut release, Pace Setter: Leadership and Culture in Mental Health. Don't let the title fool you. While the book may have been written with leading a counseling business in mind, the lessons and principles within its pages are applicable to a plethora of situations where one may find themselves in a leadership position, by chance or by choice. Rhonda's work impacting children, teens, adults, couples, and families, and helping them nurture healthy relationships is so profound. We have decided to feature her on both podcasts sponsored by It's Only Homeschooling throughout the month of November. Dr. Johnson's episodes will air on November 1st, November 8th, and November 22nd on the It's Only Homeschooling YouTube channel. Know of an amazing human working to make their community a better place? Reach out and let us know. We would love to feature them on one of our shows. With the It's Only Homeschooling podcast, we invite your family to join ours for life lessons beyond the classroom. Through our Salt and Light Serve Spotlight series, we hope to inspire others to answer the call of service. We hope you'll make us one of your regular stops along the way in your homeschool adventures. Remember, education is a journey, not a destination. Until we meet again, take a deep breath and relax. It's only homeschooling.
Walking down city streets.